Good morning, everyone. Children are ready to go. Okay, we'll, like a video, we'll speed up the first 5 minutes. Please put your heads in a receptive way to listen. How joyous I am, my heart and mind being rooted in the Buddha ground of the universal vow, and my thoughts and feelings flowing within the Dharma ocean, which is beyond comprehension. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Well, I want to thank you all for coming today. Today is the Hōonkō service, our annual Hōonkō service where we celebrate the passing of our founder Shinran Shonin in the 11th century. Shinran lived from in Kyoto area and then the Kanto Tokyo area from 1173 to 1263 for 90 years. He lived 90 years at a time when the average lifespan was 30 years. So he got 3 times longer than most of us. So I hope one of you in the room lives 240 years because the average lifespan is now 75. So Shinran at 74, so if any of you approaching your 70s or just past your 70s, even into your 80s, he wrote his collected works. So this whole book here was not written until he was age 74. So we're really fortunate for his whole long life. Despite that, Shinran was a rather modest man. He would call himself stubble-bearded. He would walk around saying, I'm neither a lay nor a monk. And in fact, I believe that he probably would not have wanted us here to celebrate his birthday. Instead, he would wanted us to direct our attention to Amida Buddha and realizing the Dharma realm. Still, we're here, and we're here for a long Sunday service, so we'll try to make it brief for the kids. Again, how joyous I am, my heart and mind being rooted in the Buddha ground of the universal vow, and my thoughts and feelings flowing within the Dharma ocean, which is beyond comprehension. When Shinran realizes the power of Amida's vow to save all sentient beings, he flows in this great, incomprehensible Dharma ocean, and he says, how joyous I am. Wow, how joyous this is. Now, you've heard about Reverend Kobata's, I don't know if you've been around long enough, but Reverend Kobata's book when he came to BCSF, he says, I like this guy, Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle wrote this Power of Now. But I'm going to tell you, I think if Shinran was writing a book about Amida's vow, it'd be the power of wow. And this wow is the world of wonder which is beyond comprehension now. So it's the vow of wow now. Okay, now, Dharma School kids, I know you want to go, but this is really for you. You guys would understand this the best, all right? This power of wow. I have a cat named Salem. And Salem is a cat we got at the vet, and we thought he was going to be a really good cat. When he was a baby, we held him and he would crawl all around. We thought, how cute. Salem has turned out to a cat that has absolutely no personality at all. He looks at snowflakes in the window, he looks at food in his bowl, and every time we try to figure out what's he thinking, we say, we have no idea. It's not until I found this little thing, this little laser pointer, that I don't know if you could see it on the photo here, this little laser pointer thing that we realized that, Salem has an interest, and this interest is this little thing that moves around, all around the room, all up the floor, all over here, because it's wow, it's some sort of bug, it's some sort of mouse. We don't know what it is because we don't know what he's thinking, but his lights light up and he goes around in circles and it's lots of fun. So this is this wow that this cat can experience. Now, you guys as Dharma School kids, I think that you probably experienced a wow in your life too. When was your last birthday? Is Evan? Evan's usually here. Oh, 2 girls. When's your last birthday? December 23rd. How old are you now? 11. Okay, remember your 12th birthday. Remember your 12th birthday's coming around, and not only you get a Nintendo, but you get your first do you have an iPhone yet? We're giving you an iPhone for your next birthday. What do you say? Wow! You know, Shinran had this wow as well. He, on his 95th, he did a 100-day ambulation around the Buddha. And on the 95th day, he started to hallucinate. He started hallucinating that Guanon-sama, which is Avalokiteshvara, or in Chinese Buddhism, it's Guanyin. He started hallucinating that Guanyin Bodhisattva, or Kannon Bodhisattva, was talking to him. And he said, Shinran, Shinran, go see Honen. Shinran's like, oh my gosh, wow, what was that? And so after that, he actually stopped circumambulating and he went down to go see Honen. That was Shinran's wow experience. Actually, for the Dharma School kids, and we're done with this, is I actually think if Shinran had a wow experience when he looked at the Naijin a lot. He would come out at night, and if you, by candlelight, he would look at the Naijin and see many sparkles, lights lighting up on the Horaku, and the Yoraku, and the Rinto, which is the circular one. And these lights would sparkle and remind him of the larger sutra where we have blue lights coming from blue flowers, and red flowers with red lights, and green flowers with green lights, and all lighting up in the middle of the night, sparkling as we can see these heavenly beings up here floating around the Naijin, and the Kalavinkas, each one of them sparkling with this golden sparkle of radiant colors that is emanating from the sutra. And in the middle is Amida Buddha, this Buddha of infinite light. And I can only imagine Shinran's experience was wow. And so was that. We can excuse the Dharma School kids. I just want to remind you, on your birthday, you're all getting iPhones from the church. This wow is now, and this wow is this world of wonder that I hope that you never lose, and because it's Amida's gift. It's Amida's gift to all of you in the Dharma School, and all of you as adults as well. All right, Charlotte, here, go after the little blinky thing. Here, we'll send Matt Stimson. Matt Stimson is half cat. There you go, Matt. Okay, for the adults again, how joyous I am. My heart and mind being rooted in the Buddha ground of the universal vow, and the thoughts and feelings flowing in this Dharma ocean, which is incomprehensible. How joyous I am. This is Shinran's expression of Shinjin, which is, I believe, his original wow. Shinjin is the mind of liberation, when we begin to feel like our mind is opening up and we have this big, it's like an LSD trip, if any of you have been on an LSD trip. So we'll go back to Matthew Stimson again. Matthew's our resident Shinjin expert, yes. It's considered the mind of true settlement when you get it. When you get it and you feel your feet are on the ground and you're truly settled, and your feet are on the ground and you have this gladdened heart. Your heart expands and your mind expands because you're full of this experience of wonder and joy. My mind being rooted in the Buddha ground or the universal vow, this is where Amida promises when he saves all beings, this promise of the vow, the working of this vow. This working is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for the influences and the forces and the things and your wife or your husband that are moving you in this world to bring you to liberation. And in his mind, Shinran saw this. Shinran closed his eyes, and in his mind, it's not that we see this light reflecting upon this working, but he can see it and understand, wow, I'm here because of all these things that got me here. And after that, his mind was flowing in this great Dharma ocean. He was swimming in all this stuff. He was just bathing in this unfolding of the working of reality, which there's colors of light, there's formless form turning and appearing and disappearing, and there's thoughts arising and falling. This is the swirl of the Dharma ocean that's described in the sutras. If you get into that and read past, you know, the hard parts, which is thus I heard, you see this land of Buddha land, which is just expanding bigger and bigger and bigger beyond this comprehension and beyond understanding. And with that, Shinran said, wow. But, you know, this wow is available to all of us. And as kids have it, they understand it. That's why I went and talked with them first. But I think as adults, something happens. We lose it. we can't find the wow anymore. It becomes a drudge. It becomes work. It becomes a hard day at the office or a hard day with the kids at work. Shinran had this too. Shinran had this experience. He said at one point, before he got it, he says, I know truly how grievous it is that I, Gutoku Shinran, am swimming in the vast ocean of desires and am lost in the vast mountains of fame and advantage, so that I do not rejoice at all upon entering the stage of the truly settled, and feel no happiness come near to the realization of true enlightenment. How ugly it is, how wretched. He's talking about himself, how ugly I am, how wretched. Shinran was depressed, I gotta tell you. So we're looking at a tomb of a guy that was originally born depressed. And then he at 74 decided he had a manic episode and wrote all this big book.
Gee, you weren't there to help
So
him.
two of us are psychiatrists that are now went through the program, Dr. Carmela Halviana, and we've looked at this kind of there's not known a lot about Shinran, but we know he was orphaned. We know he was dumped off at age 8 into this temple, which is also known as an orphanage. You know, that's where temple in Japan and in Vietnam, people drop off all their one-legged dogs and their beakless chickens because they'll live a long life at the temple. But that's what they did to Shinran. They dropped off Shinran at age 8. He was there 20 years studying at Mount Hiei, which he had no affection for at all. And then he had that hallucination I told you about, and he went to go see Honen, and finally Honen embraced him, and he felt okay. He realized, I think, with Honen, this working of the wow. He says, and the question I want to show you is how he did it, because this is, I think, something that's relevant to us. I'll read it from my notes. When one overturns, and this is from the Tanisho, chapter 3, when one overturns the mind of self-centered power and entrusts themselves in the other-centered power of the working of the vow. So when you get into this working, this idea that there's something working in your life, it's not all about you, that there's this working, they will attain birth in the true and real and fulfilled lands. You'll become one of these sparkles of light. One of George H.W. Bush's, what was it, 1,000 points of lights. You'll be number 1,001, all right? If you just get over the sense of self-centeredness and turn yourself over to the workings that are in your life that are moving you in the direction that you want to be. So on a Monday level, let's see how this works. Okay, so Steph Curry hits a 60-foot free throw. What he's doing a free throw at 60 foot, I don't know, but he makes it, and everybody in the audience goes, wow. But you do that and saying, now I'm jealous, why can't I do that? China, I heard, just grew they just grew a plant on the moon, and they plan to grow their first potato on the moon. And you can say, well, why can't Americans do that? What's wrong with our space program? And so we got to say to the Chinese, wow, good job. Scientists harness the ocean waves of the ocean for energy, clean energy. Wow. We want to say wow instead of, oh, I hate climate polluters. Matt Stimson, again, Matt, wins the curry cook-off again. Wow! Why can't I cook? And Reverend Kubata, he meets the Pope. Again. Oh, yeah. Wow! Actually, I think you only met him once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Still, wow! So every one of these wows is a wow without laments. It's just getting into the wonder of the world without all the negative thinking, without all the, what does this mean to me? Why can't I do this? Why can I hate this? And when Shinran considered this, and he considered it on a larger level, because he was really distraught at a very deep level, when he considered deeply the nature of the world, okay? This is not like some gibberish that's out there. This is your world, our world. When he read the New York Times and considered what's going on, and with the light of wisdom, he reflected on the world's working, these things that are occurring and why they're occurring. He realized that there's this gift of wow. There's something greater than all these troubles that's calling us to awaken, and awaken now. So again, Eckhart Tolle, if he had lived to 74, I think he's younger than that, right? He will realize the wow of now. But for right now, it's just now for Eckhart Tolle. So Sensei, you got to read Shinran again. So let me just share with you my experience with this wow of now, and how hard it is to grasp and how easy it goes. When I was born, which was not, well, that was rather long ago. Yeah. Not as long as you, Mr. Wooster. No, maybe about as long. About as long when you had a beard that had no hair to it. So I used to collect things. I was very interested. I was a child that I just liked things. I liked to learn about things. And I ran around a lot and looked at the grass and looked at the stars. And my first collection was rocks. I collected the rocks of the world. It had slate, mica, pyrite, gypsum, obsidian, all fitting on a little 6x9 card that my parents bought at an Arizona roadside coffee shop. And for this little card was my card to the world because it had all the rocks of the world on it. I know it because it said rocks of the world on this little card. Then I grew out of rocks and I got interested in bugs. I got interested in Lepidoptera and Hymenoptera and Diptera and Mantidae. That would be butterflies and ants and bees and flies and praying mantises every now and then I would catch in my yard, and I would catch them and I would dry them out and I would pin them. My daughter says, what? I would pin them and I'd display them and I'd bring them to school. I'd say, look at my bugs. And everybody goes, wow. And then I had fish. I had blue fish, red fish, green fish, yellow fish. I don't know what they were. They were fish, and they went like that. We had a lot of them. Then I began to study physiology. I think somewhere in high school, I wanted to know how organs work, how the heart pumped and kidneys filtered and the stomach digested, and the ministry of the inner ear. I needed to know this because my dad was an ear doctor. So you had to study the inner ear. And he says, what's the inner ear? It's got this. He goes, okay, that's it. Because I was supposed to be a doctor. And I did become a doctor. But I didn't become an ear doctor, which is great disappointment. And I became a head doctor, which was of great luck to me. But then I went to medical school. And this is when I grew up. And the magic started to, something happened. I was very lonely and it was very hard. First of all, my wife, to be Camille, she was gone for a year. We were supposed to graduate at the same time. She stayed some extra year, and I had a whole year alone, and I was very lonely. Poor me. And science was still interesting, but it just became not fun. So when I studied the stomach, for example, I realized there were multiple digestive cells, and each digestive cell had a chemical process, and each chemical process had a defect or disease, and each defect or disease had a medicine, and each medicine had a side effect, and each side effect had a warning label, and each warning label was a potential lawsuit. And every time I saw a patient, each patient was a potential complication, and each potential complication was a death, and each death was a quality report, a statistic, a tragedy, a family horrendous, can't get you out of the waiting room event, and liability. And all that was a lot of stress. Wow, no more. And practice of medicine really wasn't much better. Initially, there's worries about putting up a shingle and trying to pay off your loans. Anyone graduating from school now will know you come out 50, 100, 200,000 in loans. That's all you're worried about. How much are you going to pay me? After the first 10 years, then you have to prove what you know was what you were supposed to learn, because medical school was hard, and half the time you were like playing with your girlfriend and sleeping in late and didn't go to class. So you didn't know. So you had to prove that you knew it. The second year, you had to prove that you mastered what you were supposed to know. And then the third year, you had to relearn what you forgot, or the third decade. So these are the lessons I learned from medical school. 50% of what you know and what you learn, and it's not just medicine, 50% is wrong. It's like the earth goes around, what does the earth goes around? Oh, the planets go around the earth. Wrong, right? We need coal for energy. Wrong. Whatever there are. The problem is when you're going through life, you don't know which 50% is wrong. So also I learned with technology and medicines, they really don't cure. The most thing we're doing is we're helping the body do its natural healing. And the last thing is we don't really know why the body works. We know how it works, but we don't know why it works. We don't know, I was watching this show on Nova, how a 1-inch little egg, the smallest little bird that there is, can grow up into a chicken or a rooster. We don't know. We know we can look at the egg, we can put it in the incubator. We can't create an egg. When you put two dogs in together, we don't know how you get a baby dog. Well, actually, we know part of how you get a baby dog when you put two dogs together. We can only coax the unfolding of this word like a butterfly comes from a worm. We can always say, you know, let's make this happen. Let's make this happen. And big questions that are religious questions and are questions to us as people and humans. What is consciousness? What is my life? Why am I here? These are things in science we call hyper-complex epiphenomena. That's the word right now. Hyper-complex epiphenomena, meaning we don't know what the F is going on. Can I say that? And yet we're here, all right? We're here. This is the world of wonder, and it's working, and it's amazing, and it's beyond medicine, and it's beyond now. It's the only thing that we can say when you realize about our life is wow. And this vow is Amita's vow to us. It's a meeting speaking to us, calling us to nirvana, because nirvana is the great wow. And when we see it in our mind's eye, when we can start to realize these things and start to settle, it's like I begin to understand why I'm the way I am, why my family's the way I am, why things are working the way they are. You start to feel settled, and a sense of contentment comes over, and a sense of gladness, and ultimately a sense of serene joy. And this is the wow. And at that point in our tradition, we could say wow, Namo wow. But we attribute this to the true wow, which is Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu. I take refuge in Amida Buddha and the world of wonder. Namo Amida Butsu. I reside in the world of wonder. Namo Amida Butsu. I flow in this Dharma ocean of wisdom light, illuminating from the great vow of wow. Namo Amida Butsu. I'm engulfed in a world which radiates infinite compassion, and it's all for me, and it guides us and me to a joyful liberation, which is beyond comprehension. Wow. That was what Shinran was dealing with. That's what he realized after his 74th year. It's also good to hallucinate every now and then. So I'll read one last time from Shinran. And see if, again, this makes sense to you. And see if there's something that you can resonate with. This feeling of being in an infinite world that's connected with lights and sparkles and whatever you want. iPhones and raises and your boss is being really nice and wives and husbands and all these things flowing past you. With great joy, you say, how joyous I am, my heart and mind being rooted in the Buddha Dharma and the ground of the universal vow, and my thoughts and feelings flowing within the Dharma ocean, which is beyond comprehension. Wow. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.